Hey guys, Hoffbauer here to make a video on circles. This is review from Algebra 2 and maybe even Geometry or Algebra 1. So this is going to go really fast, but we're going to talk about something in this course called locus of points. And locus of points simply means all the points that satisfy a given condition. So the locus of points for a circle is all points a given distance, which would be the radius, from a given point, which would be the center, in a plane. Should have probably put all points in a plane, a given distance. So if it's not in a plane, then it would be a sphere. Okay, but this is the locus of points, or all the points that meet this condition will make a circle. All right, we're going to study 4 different types of what are called conic sections this week. A conic section is simply when you take 2 cones like this. It's called a double napped cone, and you slice it. So if you slice parallel to a base, you get a circle. If you slice anything but parallel to the base, you will get this oval shaped called an ellipse. And we're going to study both of those today, 2 separate videos. And then we're going to do parabola, which you already know, but we're going to do it from what's called a focus and directrix. And then this is a new one. When you cut it perpendicular to the base, so you cut through both, you get what are called hyperbolas. All right, so we're going to study those this week. So the first one today is circles. And the standard form of the equation of a circle that you learned way back when is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. And just so you remember, the radius is halfway across, okay? Where hk is the center and r is the radius. So in this picture, or this given problem, since it's x minus h, I could write that up here one more time. The opposite of this would be 1, the opposite of this would be 2, and r squared is 64, so r is 8. We can't have a radius of negative 8, it can't be negative, so it's a distance, it has to be positive. So this circle you would go over 1, up 2, and then from there you would attempt to count up 8, to the right 8, down 8, left 8, and make a circle that goes through all those points. Mine usually end up looking like a football. Well, that's probably not the worst one I drew. All right. For the next one here, there is no shift in the x, so it's 0. And there's a shift here. You do minus 5, or the center is at 0, negative 5. If r squared is 9, then the radius is 3. So over 0, but down 5, and then out 3 in every direction. And you want to go straight out, up, down, left, right, because anything else is not going to land exactly on a point. Ooh, that is a really bad circle. It's like an alien head. Okay. We are going to practice writing equations in standard form. So what happens is if you have a question like this, what they will do is, if you FOILed this all out, you'd get x squared minus 6x plus 9. If you FOILed all that out, you'd get y squared plus 4y plus 4 equals 16. And they would have an x squared and a y squared, a minus 6x and a plus 4y. And then they would subtract everything over here, and I think you'd get 3. Okay, this is another form, and so we're going to learn how to actually go backwards to this. To do that, we're going to use completing the square. So what we're going to do here is we're going to separate the x's and y's. So we have an x squared plus 6x, and then we're going to put a blank. I hope this is coming back to you from other courses. And then you have a y squared plus 2y's plus a blank equals, and then we're going to move this constant over to the other side, so it'll become a negative 6. And then we're going to need to add both a red and a blue blank on that side. I don't know what's going on with my plus signs there, but all right. The rule when you complete the square is you take half of this quantity, this is b, okay? And you put in here x plus b divided by 2, and then what goes in this blank is a b divided by 2 squared. So for this problem, you would have x plus 3. When you square it, it would be x plus 3 times x plus 3, which would be x squared plus 6x plus 9, because you're squaring this, and that's what you put in the blue blank, so that's what you put on this side. All right, for the red, you take half of this b value, so you get y plus 1 quantity squared. Then you square it. Well, 1 times 1 is still 1. And whatever you put in that red blank, you have to put in this red blank. So on the right-hand side, we get negative 6 plus 9 plus 1, which is 4. So we have equals 4. So what's going on is that the center, whoa. Okay. The center is at negative 3, negative 1. R squared is 4, so the radius is 2. Negative 3, negative 1, go 2 in every direction. And draw a circle. All right, I hope we're about done with the ones where we have to draw, because I do such a bad job. All right, separate. You know what? I'm going to skip this one. I want you to go back and do this in your notes and then check my work, okay? Check yours against my work. But I'm going to go ahead and do one that has some negatives in it, just so you don't think they're always positive. So you separate the x's and put a blank. And then you have a y squared, and this one is really weird. We're going to have to subtract that over to that side. So we're going to have a y squared plus minus. Maybe I should write that so you... All right, I'm going to write real fast here. X squared minus 8x plus y squared minus 12y equals negative 7. And then you would write x squared minus 8x plus blank plus y squared minus 12y plus blank equals negative 7, and then you're going to add a purple blank and a red blank. And I know you don't have room on your paper to write it out this spread out, so you're going to have to scrunch it in there. Again, you take half of this, so that becomes a minus 4. Whoa, that's the biggest squared ever. And then you put in here, negative 4 times negative 4 would become 16. Okay, that was the purple blank. And then it's half of this, so we'd have y minus 6. And when you square negative 6 times negative 6 is 36. So this blank gets a 36. Negative 7 added to 16 is 9, plus 36 is 45. Let me try that one more time. 36 minus 7 is 29, 35, 45. Yep. Okay, so the center is at 4, 6, because it's the opposite of what's in here. And the radius would be at square root of 45. Or if you were graphing it, you could say this is 9 times 5. Get 3 square roots of 5. Or this is close to 7, because square root of 49 is 7. So square root of 45 on my calculator. If I could type, is 6.7. All right. Do I need to do one more? Guess I will. X squared minus 14x plus a blank plus a y squared plus 4y plus a blank equals 28 plus a couple blanks. So this one would be x minus half of this is 7. Squared is 7 times 7 is 49. And then we have a y plus half of this is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And over here we have 28, 32, 41, 81. Does that one come out nice? 60, 77, 81. Yeah, I think that's right. So the radius squared is 81. So the center is at 7, -2, and the radius is 9. All right, I hope you got completing the square. Try the one we skipped, and it should be done in the notes if you look at my notes. All right. Now we are supposed to write the equation of a circle in standard form, which is the form we've been using. You don't have to do anything crazy with it. So you're just going to put in h and k and r, and you're going to have x minus -2 or plus 2 squared, y minus -7 or plus 7 squared equals the radius squared, which I believe is 256. 16 squared. 16 squared. Yep. Okay. When you do these, just be very careful that you remember the squareds up there and all that kind of stuff. When you're going to do the homework on this, it's going to be on Khan Academy. And just like Delta Math, you know, if you forget a squared or a parenthesis, or you make these both x's instead of an x and a y, it won't work. All right. Over here, same thing. Let's see, we'd have x squared plus y minus 1 squared equals, now 3 times the square root of 6 times another 3 times the square root of 6. 3 times 3 is 9. Square root of 6 times square root of 6 is 6. So we get 54 when we square that. Okay, you can try it on your calculator, but you'd need some extra parentheses. So you'd have 3 square roots of 6, arrow over so that you're not in the box, and then square that quantity. Okay, and that's all it asks for, so I really don't care what square root of 54 even is. All right, these are just easy peasy. You just need to cut this in half and say the radius is 12, and then do what we did on the last two. So I'll just do this one. You'd have x minus -2, y minus 6, and this is a little tricky. The radius is half of that, okay? So when we square that, we square the top and we get 30. We square the bottom and we get 4. And 30 divided by 4 is 15 halves, or 7.5. And it's already the radius squared, remember. Okay. We'll do the one I skipped on the notes too. So, all right, this one, you just have to draw in the diameters so that you're sure you get the length of the radius and the center correct. And be careful, 0, 0 is over here. There's the axes. So it's left 1, 2, 3, 4 and down 1. And the radius is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's hard to tell, and you probably won't. Well, actually, you might have this on Delta or on Khan Academy, but I think the graph paper is better and labeled correctly and all that good stuff. So this would be x plus 4 quantity squared plus y plus 1 quantity squared equals 25. Because it's r squared. All right. This is a trick. Now, if you know the center and you know some point on the circle, you could use, oh my goodness, that's horrible. You could use the distance formula to find the radius, okay? But the distance formula is a pain in the neck. It's actually related to, okay, does this look familiar? It's the equation of a circle, except the distance is radius. So you have the radius is if you square both sides, you get the radius squared equals that's just the distance formula. So here's my shortcut. Put the center in. X minus -5 would be plus. Y minus -6 would be plus. And set it equal to r squared. But don't go through all this craziness. Just put this x and y value in. So we have 2 plus 5 and 3 plus 6. And that'll give us r squared. So this is 7 squared is 49. You could do it on your calculator. This is 9 squared is 81. So that's 120, 130. So, and remember, we want r squared. We don't want r. I don't care that r is square root of 130. My equation is just 130 because it's r squared that goes in my equation, not r. You could find r is square root of 130, and then you'd have to square it again to get 130 in the equation. All right. I don't think that's actually on a quiz, so I think that's why I only did one of those. This says given the endpoints of the diameter. This is very much like the one we just did, except if you know the endpoints on the diameter, you need the midpoint to find the center. And here's the midpoint formula. You average. Remember the x's? But you got to add before you divide. And the y's. And that'll give you the center. So this is -4 divided by 2 is -2. And this is -12 divided by 2 is -6. Did I do that right, guys? From 1 to here is 3 down, 3 more. Yep. -16 to -6 is up 10. Up 10 more would be 4. Okay. I think I did it right. And I think I even just figured out what the diameter is, but or the radius. But what you want to do is put this in. Plus 2. This is your center now because it was the midpoint. Squared plus y plus 6, quantity squared equals the radius squared. Now, you could do distance formula from here, that midpoint to one of those to find this. I'm just going to be lazy. I'm just going to put in this. And either one of them would work. But if I put in this x and this y, I get my r squared without doing any square roots at all. So this is 3 squared is 9. This is -10. When you square it, you get 100. I got the radius squared is 109. That's kind of ugly. So final equation is you just put the 109 back in up here. So it's x plus 2 quantity squared plus y plus 6 quantity squared equals 109. All right. I'm actually going to stop the video and double check all these answers and see who's texting me. All right, last question. I'll try to write a little bit smaller this time. Again, if these are the endpoints of the diameter, you need the midpoint, which would be 9 plus negative 17, which is negative 8 divided by 2, which would be negative 4. And 1 and 5, 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then I'm lazy, so I just put those into the formula of a circle, equation of a circle. And then I put one or the other of these points in for x and y. So if I put in 9 and the y is 1, then I get 13 squared, which is 169, and you could just type it in your calculator. 1 minus 3 is negative 2 squared is positive 4. So I got 173 is r squared. So the radius is the square root of 173, which is something over 13, but I really don't care. Remember, all I want is the equation. So I'd have x plus 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 173, because it's r squared that goes in there. All right, that's it.